Hey Sam,
Hey Brian, how's it going?
it's going.
Just a couple of reflections just that I've had in the past few days, and wonder what you think as well. Is obviously Gemini 3 came out, and I think that's quite a big deal. But I read some really interesting things about how it was done just on Google infrastructure and things like that. Like, so it's quite different in terms of the infrastructure there. So that was one insight that I think would be worth just going into, just vibing on a little bit. The other one was kind of feels like Microsoft are finally catching up. I don't know. I'm getting this vibe like across. I think there's a lot of competition, obviously, but it feels like they're releasing things that are kind of AI first, like actually, and it's a lot better than what they did. They were so far behind at the beginning of the year. Like I almost just threw my hands up in the air, but it feels like they're finally catching up. And I do find it sometimes find it a little bit ironic because now all those who were really hating on AI in the Microsoft world a year ago are now jumping all over it like crazy. So I think the turnaround's quite funny.
I don't know. I get some hot takes today. Maybe I'm too may, maybe it's too soon coming off morphine from my surgery, but
Right.
um I and maybe it's too close to Gemini, but I feel like OpenAI is in trouble.
Really interesting.
Yeah,
Interesting.
I
Just
I feel like
because
they
everyone's catching up.
I feel like they have no advantage at this point, other than the first mover, um,
Mm,
kind of big. They've got big numbers, but do they really have the enterprise subscribers, and do they really have the heavy users?
yeah.
They've got no
Yeah.
compute of their own. They've got kind of erratic leadership, I think. If you've
Mm,
kind of watched them stumble and backtrack over you know, over the too big to fail stuff this past couple of weeks.
yeah.
Um, there was a paper, there was a game theory paper. It didn't get much play, but I really put a lot of stock in it. It was well done, and what the thesis was that each model kind of has the personality of their their organization, and Anthropic is cooperative. Um, OpenAI is naive, and Google is just a killer. And
Mm,
when they ran the models off in a repeated prisoner's dilemma, Google just smashed everybody.
mm.
Um, and I kind of feel like they have that mindset, and now they have the leverage to do it. Um,
Yeah.
so I don't know.
Look. There's no doubt in my mind that others are catching up. And OpenAI um, have been a leader for a couple of years, and their strategy has been to move fast, right? Like their strategy has been just continually move fast, but everyone is catching up. The only caveat I would say to that, and I've said this many times, the AI market is so big that there'll be so many winners. Like it's very hard to say that one person is going to own the entire AI market because the entire AI market is going to be worth trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars at some point. Um, and so OpenAI could still be number three, and they'll still be a massive success, in my opinion. Um, so they're I think that they have I've said this as well. The way that these AI companies make money is going to shift over time if you like think about it, right? Like, what they look like now is going to look very different in 2 to 3 years because I think they're going to make money in services. The services market was I read a stat from one of the VC companies was it's like between 3 to 4 trillion a year or something like that. The services, and imagine that they have they have the capability and capital to start attacking the services market where you like start inserting software where you used to pay humans to do work. Like so, there's this the market for these AI companies is just way bigger than anyone realizes, and so that's why their valuations are just crazy, like absolutely crazy, because I think this is what the potential is.
Well, I think the services market, the sense I get is Microsoft is lining up pretty nicely on that one.
Yeah.
Um, the
Well,
fact that they're shifting their license structure and they're saying it's not now users, it's compute. And so
mhm.
whether it's a human or an agent sitting behind a computer, they're gonna be charging a license for that.
It's that
And
tax on intelligence. It just goes back to that, isn't it? They're just going to be taxing
yeah,
intelligence and automation.
I think they're setting up pretty nicely for that. I
Mm.
don't really, I got to tell you, I watched a lot of the stuff coming out of Ignite, and I don't really understand it. Um, the
I,
ontologies and the semantic models and the agents and the way they've got this layered, I just it doesn't make any sense to me.
they are just the master marketers, aren't they? Like they'll put out these things. I mean, I remember last year it was the agentic web. I mean, what did that turn into? The agentic web. I mean, honest to God, I don't even know what that was. And is, and I think that they just like make up the next thing, and then they come up with these like, I mean, we know this. We've been in the game for a while, um, but I
But I
guess they
don't,
just
I mean, do
they're
you, when you
relentless
listen to that,
marketers.
when you listen to it, do you understand what they're talking about? Because I don't.
I mean, I've only seen clips on social media, like LinkedIn earlier today when I was just on there, but a bit on YouTube. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's just all fancy names that they decommission after a few months anyway, and then they just like go back to the core products. I mean, the- it's such a transformative time. Like sometimes you're just better off just throwing things out there, and then if they take hold, then great, you just run with it. If they don't, you decommission it and you just spin up the next thing, and then you just see what works. It's so like one of the other things that I mean, the so just succeeding in anything is just marketing, right? It's like you've got to get the message out there, you've got to get the distribution out there, and you've got to give Microsoft credit and all these big tech firms. Their marketing is just insanely good. I mean, they've got the money. They just like put it all into they just circle it back into pump it into more marketing and distribution and sales. It's amazing. It's amazing to see. It's amazing to. I mean, I learned this stat years ago. I think Microsoft spent 30% of their revenue back on marketing. 30% of their entire revenue
Wow.
on marketing and sales. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. So just think about that. Think about that. That's crazy, right? Absolutely crazy.
I do agree with you. I do think whether it's the right vision, I don't know, but they do seem to have a position in the market now. For a while,
Yeah.
they were kind of flailing around with Copilot, and it wasn't
Yeah.
clear what they were doing. But they seem like they're kind of going for the enterprise agent integration. Um,
Yeah. And they'll win. They'll win. If you go on LinkedIn for any period of time, you just see how well liked everything is in that universe. And I continually hear more people
well, it
saying,
helps when you own the universe.
yeah, um, the um, more and more people are using Copilot because it's just in front of them. It's there. It's ready to use. Not.
Well, now I think they know what it is.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if it's any good. I mean, most people bag it online, but I mean, I don't use it because I'm just so immersed in Claude and ChatGPT at this point. And there's so many options. There's so many options out there. The one thing that has never continues to um, happen, and I kind of feel, and I think you've felt the same way. Like over time, we kind of feel like we're in a different universe. Like I'll go online and I'll see a video on a formula in Excel on a channel, and it will have 300,000 views or something like that. And I'm just going, and I just kind of like can't believe it. I can't believe it. I mean, yes, these channels are popular, but it's just amazing when something that, I mean, there's probably a term for this, but like it's something like an AI can just like chew up in seconds, right? Like it's almost like you don't even need to know that kind of stuff anymore. But it's almost like nostalgic. Like everyone, there's so much that is changing and so much new stuff you can do. But the old way of doing things is still very, very popular. Very popular. It's the same um, on LinkedIn as well, which is very, very Microsoft. But you see something about Power BI, and it's like 400 likes on something, and then just
Yeah.
like tons of 100 comments, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah. I mean, I just want to talk about what I want to talk about, which gets nowhere near as much traction anymore. But um, it is amazing to see. It's I don't know what it is. Is it AI backlash? Is it just like no one really cares? Like, is it what the social algorithms push? Like, I don't know.
I think part of it's just to change. I think part of it is just everything's moving so fast. I think people are just kind of hanging on to the things that they're familiar with and they know work.
Yeah.
I do think Power BI is, you know, after a while of looking like they weren't putting time and money into anything other than Fabric, they've been pushing some good stuff lately.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's what I mean. It feels like they're kind of catching up in a lot of areas. Just introducing AI and various different things, reformatting ways things can get done inside of Power BI, which is what we were shouting about at the start of the year, and what many of you.
yeah, I mean they're making better progress on the base visuals.
Yeah.
They just rolled out the MCP server publicly this week.
Mm.
Um, they've got they, there was kind of a big brouhaha on the file format. I mean, it initially sounded like they were kind of putting a hard stop on PBIX, that you were going to have to convert your PBIX over to PBIR, and they made it clear after that was not the interpretation, but it did seem like a lot of people got the wrong impression. But I
Mm.
like where I like where they're going in terms of that they're moving it as far as they can to making it AI usable without breaking stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've thought that's the kind of the best place they could go. I still am very skeptical about um, the ability to really do complex AI based reporting in that. But at the same
Yeah.
time, I'm watching how good the models are getting, and maybe they kind of sail into that glide path of the models being able to write some of the stuff that doesn't have um, as much of a baseline of really good material to train on. That maybe the models just get so much better and powerful that they can they can pick up something like TMDL and you know
Yeah.
the structures that they've got on the visuals for AI without as big a corpus of knowledge as they would have needed prior.
Yeah.
Um, that's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. I mean, the whole landscape is changing a lot. I think the need to dashboard everything definitely is lower than it once was. But
I
I
I
mean, we've
agree.
never, and you and I have never been the dashboards going away forever. I think there's huge there's going to be huge requirements for dashboards, but you know, definitely when you see how good these models are, just like summarizing information. Like I was doing a financial projection the other day. I just copied my financials into one for like ChatGPT. I mean, it just spins it up in seconds, right? Like you used to have to spend days in Excel to do that kind of stuff. Like it spin, you can talk back and forth. So there's certainly is like new ways of doing things, which I think is gonna get even better in a lot of cases. But yeah, I mean, people, yeah, I think the days of spending days creating a Power BI report are probably very there's not as big a requirement anymore. I mean, you can just honestly you can just create so much so quickly now. It's unbelievable. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, the thing that I wonder, I mean, last night I posted something about it was kind of a trivial thing that I did, but I had it create a kind of a simulation of a toy I had as a kid, and Google in 3 minutes, Gemini in 3 minutes, one shot almost 1,000 lines of code.
Yeah,
Boom. I mean, sophisticated visuals,
yeah,
interactive, um, and really, really deep in terms of, I fed it a 160-page manual, and in 3 minutes, it not only ingested it, coded it, and debugged it. I mean, it was done, and the
mm,
efficiency of the tokenization and the quality of the output was shocking to me. I mean, I
yeah,
knew I knew this model was going to be good. So the question I have is, are we going to need dashboarding software at all? Are we going to get to the
mm,
point where it can just one shot a dashboard based on a screenshot? That's something I've been working on, that I've been having a lot of success, which is getting models to iterate on visuals. Um,
yeah.
and I haven't even tried Gemini yet.
I think it's coming. I mean, it's got to be, right? It's got to be. I mean, you could probably. I mean, I have not tested anything, but I mean, Gemini 3 is talked up so positively in terms of like coding and things like that. It just does not feel like creating a small dashboard or report is very far removed from what it's doing from a coding perspective right now for games, for apps, and all this kind of stuff. Like
Yeah.
it feels somewhat easier in a lot of cases. I mean, if you, I mean, you could, yeah, I'm sure it knows how to code up all visuals that all the traditional visuals you would use, and then it's just about feeding data into them and writing SQL to chop up the data and stuff. So, I mean, someone's probably already done it. It just doesn't get much visibility.
Well, and the interesting thing is, I think if you and I haven't had time to do it today, but one of the things I really want to try is grafting the Gemini model onto the Claude Skills framework. Because
Mm,
if that's the winner right there. I mean, other than the fact that Claude Code is trained on the Anthropic models, but you take the power of what Gemini's got, and you take the reproducibility of a Claude skill, and I mean that's what you need. Um,
yeah. I've been using Claude Skills a lot in Cursor and so in development.
what do you think?
The biggest thing for me is just how seamless it is. How seamless. Like you don't even see it, you don't even feel it. It just happens so seamlessly. I've only used it within Cursor. Um, and it also works with other models as well, like within Cursor. So I've been using the Composer One model a lot inside of Cursor. This is their own custom build model. And it's actually become my preferred model in the last like week to 10 days. It's fast, it's really good. Um, Sonnet 4.5 feels slow compared to it, but also it can use all my Claude skills that I already have in there. And by the way, I actually just created my Claude skills with AI. I never I never wrote out a thing. I just and this is another sort of theme that I've come to. It's like you've really got to attack all these AI things with AI. Like you've got to,
Yeah.
you don't want to be using Claude skills and then in like writing out 1,000 word document. Like you want to use AI to write a 1,000 word document. That's how you want to sort of scale the AI capabilities with more AI inserted to in the creation of them and stuff. But anyway, Claude skills just feels seamless. Like that is it just feels so natural. It's not like it calls some MCP tool which takes ages to go and fill up and go and figure something out. It does it within seconds. It then goes on to the next thing, and it's just so seamless.
It's
And that is the experience that I think people will want.
it's also it's a folder. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, the structure is so simple,
Mm,
but it works so beautifully. And you know, I spent a lot of time this week, kind of making the case that really what it does is it shifts from using AI as a computation engine to using it as a tool caller.
yeah.
And you
Yeah.
basically structure everything around it. And the AI, all the AI has to do is just point to the right script.
Yeah.
Um, and any good AI, I mean, Haiku can do that.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm,
so, the fact that we've got these super powered AIs now that write the skills and then just point to the stuff they wrote,
yeah.
um, that is just reliable and predictable, and it just
Mm.
works. Um,
It's so interesting you mentioned haiku because I've been using Composer One a lot because it's fast and it does cool. But um, usually you would, particularly in the development space, you would not use the faster models for like core things that you're doing. But if you have a Claude skill that is very specific in what you want done, and that can be for like code optimization, branding, things you do with the database, GitHub stuff. I throw a lot of this stuff through the faster models now because it can go and reference a Claude skill and get exactly what it needs to do every single time. And so my development has increased in speed. Like I'm getting more done. I'm getting more done. It's far more reliable when it gets done, and it's using a faster model. So I've actually sped up a lot of the things that I can do when I'm sitting at my computer and trying to get work done. It's still not perfect. Like still does make mistakes, but that's usually when it's a lot of that has to do with me prompting it or me giving it bad ideas, but yeah, it has made things better. Claude skills and the way that it has absolutely made development better in most cases.
I agree. And your point about using AI to leverage AI, the skill builder they have is really good. Um,
Yeah.
and what I did is I built a skill evaluator. I spent like the first 3 days that I was dug in on that, building this skill evaluator that I've posted on my GitHub. And it goes through documentation, utility, security, and quality of code. And it does a really thorough job. And what I found is if you iterate 2 or 3 times with the skill evaluator, you use the skill creator to build your skill, then you iterate on it with the skill evaluator. What you come out with is solid at the end, at the end of
Mm,
that process. And it doesn't. You're right. It doesn't take that long. And
yeah.
I think now that with the idea that we can basically have Gemini haul the really heavy load on the really dense Python coding. Um, I think these things are just going to get better and better. And if you look at there are now in the first month of skills, there are more skills than there are in the first year of MCP.
Yeah. Because it's just easier. MCP conceptually is still good, but I still find it just utterly confusing and it's just not user friendly. It's not as it's just it's probably 3 to 5 times less user friendly than a skill, which is just simple.
Well, I'm kind of, I mean, I've been the biggest MCP fan there is, and I
Yeah.
think MCPs are fading. I'll tell you why, because Claude Code and the CLI tools, basically, the holy trinity of MCP is web access, local file access, and vision. And so in Claude Skills, you've got web access built in. You've got local file access built in, and there's a playwright skill. So you don't even need MCP to get the three main functions. You don't have to touch MCP at all. And you've
Mm.
got basically the universe of what most people need for MCP. And then the only thing you really need MCP for at that point is connecting your data source. Um, and and then if you're doing the sort of agentic looping stuff that I'm doing, you need to be able to natively evaluate in the language that you're working in. So you need an
Mm.
MCP for DAX, you need an MCP for M. But I'm also not convinced those aren't going to get written into skills because I'm starting to write more and more of what I would do in MCP into skills. And
Why would Anthropic throw out MCP then? Because skills seems like the vastly simpler implementation of an agent, right? So why do they ever? Why was MCP ever a thing? I
I don't
mean,
think I don't think they came up with skills until yeah. I think had they come up with skills first,
mm,
there would have been a lot more emphasis on writing the the APIs and the tool calls through a skill. So I mean that still happens. I mean, and tools call MCPs, but I I wonder if they had come up with skills first, if it would have. That's a good question. If it would have materialized differently.
one of the
Um,
things I have not done through a skill per se, and this is what MCP enables as well, is MCP enables you to connect through to an entire application API setup, right? So, like what we're doing with Content Lead and MCP is that you'll be able to connect to Content Lead's MCP, and then you'll be able to post social media post or articles or whatever from any environment, from anywhere. And so I'm not sure if a skill can do that per se. I mean, skill can probably still connect to an API or something, but the MCP sort of became the connector between the agent, the AI client, and the core software and the ways of doing tasks and things within that software.
well, I don't know, and I gotta say I don't fully understand it at this point. But did you see the paper that came out from Anthropic about a week ago on code-based MCPs? That basically
Uh,
they were kind of the way I understood it, and I could have this wrong, is instead of basically taking your resources, um, and basically they're using your local file environment and connection to your system.
mm,
The code-based MCP, as I understand it, is it's basically their their sandbox. And so all the security and the the administration management is on the sandbox side, and you're just connecting into it. Um,
mm,
and so it struck me like a much simpler way, um, possibly more secure, and maybe something that fits better with skills. I need to do a deeper dive on that, but
mm,
it
mm,
definitely seems to me like MCP is changing. In that, like as I say, things like Playwright. Before I was using everything search through an MCP tool, I
mm,
wrote a skill that just builds the everything search CLI into a skill. Doesn't need MCP now. And the advantage of that is the progressive disclosure,
mm,
so that it only calls the tools you need. So we've talked about the bright data, that you you don't have to load 62 tools into your context to start with. That you
mm.
can just load that shell and then have it pull the ones it needs. And so there just seems to me to be a big potential, especially as most people, I think, aren't going to need nearly the MCP, kind of heavy lift that they would have needed 6 months ago,
Yeah.
or even
In-
even a month ago, frankly.
Yeah.
It's so much has moved into the CLI tools, and all the CLI tools now give you basically those three things. Um, for
Yeah.
Gemini and OpenAI, you've got to use Playwright or Puppeteer or Chrome Dev, but that
Hmm.
doesn't take a ton of context.
Yeah.
So I'm really thinking uh, I'm short in MCP in the future.
Mm.
I think tool calling and those sort of services are still going to be just as valuable, but I don't know that MCP ends up being the winner here.
I'm with you. Only, and this is obviously just like recently because skills have come out as a new way of doing things. I'm not across if skills does actually do everything that MCP does. Like I need to obviously dig a little bit deeper, like you were saying. Um, but the one thing that I always like, the one test I always like think about in my mind with any new tech or new feature, is just how complicated it is for the everyday person. And MCP is just so bloody complicated. I mean, it probably isn't that complicated, but I still feel like I get lost in MCP when I'm trying to set it up within my development my development space, right? And so if I'm feeling somewhat confused, then I just kind of know that this is not going to fly. Like the average person is not going to sit inside of ChatGPT or Claude and set this up. They just are not. Like there needs to be it just needs things just need to be simple if you want widespread adoption. Like that's just what it comes down to. And then when you create a skill, it's just so simple. It's so natural. I'm just basically talking. I'm saying, hey, use this skill to do this, and then boom, it gets it done. And so is there's such a difference there. There's such a difference. And also the skill also, by the way, I think is far more visible. Like MCP, when you load it in, you have no idea what it actually does. There is no documentation inside of your files. It's literally like 2 lines of like code that you put in the MCP file. But you don't know what it does, what it can do, and you just forget. But a skill, it just lists it all for you. You can customize it. You can, it's just simple, right? So
Um, so we tried this last time, and I had a minor bug that I hadn't um, sorted out before, but it was interesting because I had an emergency appendectomy this weekend, and I was in the hospital, and um, I was in a lot of pain, and my surgery got delayed, and so I was trying to distract myself,
yeah.
and yeah, I had my phone, and I said, let me see if I can get basically to my agents and do stuff with them on my phone.
Mm.
And it was easy. That basically I do everything in Claude Code on
Hmm.
my desktop. And I'm in a hospital bed on my phone um, in Claude Code, loading skills from my GitHub and running agents, for tasks. And it was
How are you using
easy.
Claude Code on your phone? How are you connecting into your desktop?
All right, check this out. This is super cool. So if you go in your Claude app,
So Claude, the actual Claude app. Okay. Yeah, I've got that.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay, top left, and you drop down, you should see a line. The fifth line down is code.
Okay. Yeah. But is that like that's Claude Code Web though? That's Claude Code Web, right? Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
yeah.
what you can do is you can um you can basically access all your skills from there. You can access your repo.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. Okay.
so if you link it to your repo and right
Yeah.
down here, you click in. And any skill you've got in your repo, you can load right into your phone and run your agents
Yeah, yeah.
from
Okay,
there.
I get it. Yeah, yeah, no. No, okay, okay. I thought you were sort of like vibe coding with on your CLI,
You
but
can do that.
so like okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
you can actually um, access. You can kind of pass stuff off between web app and Cloud Code.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
It's not there. You can't pass everything off, but
Right.
it's surprisingly nimble in terms of jumping between the three.
Right. Right. It's amazing how quickly that the vibe coding trend has just become more seamless into everyday life. Like countless times in the last like 2 weeks, I've been out and about. I've like driven to my dad's house or whatever, and I'm on my phone and chatting to Claude Web just to get some ideas about an app. I'm at a cafe and doing it. Like it's amazing how immersive it's all become. That's what you wanted. That's what you want it to be. From a product perspective, and but it's just also in just enhancing the productivity in general, right? Like you're able to just do more. Everything is enhancing productivity. Like it's just like compounding. Everything is compounding and compounding. And I can't stress how much I think that code generation just changes so much. Like AI code generation, the speed at which you can generate code, and then when you layer on these sort of new skills that are possible and making you more efficient, like it just compounds. It constantly compounds. I'm seeing it every week in what I'm doing. Like how the speed in which we are developing Help Genie at the moment is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Every model upgrade, I just start thinking bigger. Okay, we're just going to go after this. We're going to go after this. It's wild. It's totally wild.
Yeah, I mean, it blew my mind that I ran 10,000 lines of code across um, a website, the Assembly AI transcription site,
Yep.
um, Claude Code, Claude Skills, and then I had to create a Word document. I ran up to the Anthropic API for summarization. They have a really great API for advanced summarization.
Mm,
I did this from a hospital bed on a phone
wow. Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
in like 10 minutes. It was remarkable. And
Yeah.
I take the point that maybe that is not what I should have been doing in the hospital bed, but the fact that I could was incredible, and
Yeah.
that didn't exist a month ago. Um,
It's crazy to think none of this even really existed a year ago
oh yeah, I mean, I I was talking to somebody about that I actually did a post on that.
on
And
that
I
point.
popped that out that I actually went back and I traced where we were um, at this time last year, and
Yeah.
it is incredible. I mean, that you know,
We
people
were
talk
saying
about,
things were incredible a year ago too. We were saying things were absolutely incredible a year ago.
yeah, and the interesting thing is, there's been all this talk about a wall, and progress is slowing, and yeah, here it is. Here it is. Um, so a year ago, the first reasoning model was only in preview. MCP had just been published. Um, Image and video models were a fraction as capable as they are right now. No major model provider had a CLI tool,
Mm.
and there was no reliable AI automation. And that was a year ago.
1 year ago. You know, and I also saw the latest Nano Banana model from Google can write massive like documents of text now. Like you can get it to basically create a cheat sheet with all these diagrams and words and stuff in one shot now, based on a blog or based on some content. So I mean, that's just nuts, absolutely crazy. But yeah, I mean, it's just, and I mean, how many crap takes have we seen over the last couple of years on all of this? But it's just, and they continue to this day. Terrible takes. I'd even suggest that everyone's saying that AI is a bubble is just a terrible take. There might be a valuation bubble, maybe, but
Right.
to say that AI is a is not going to be the biggest thing in our lifetimes is just silly at this point. It's just absolutely silly. Um, but one thing I'll just add as well is that remember, like, I don't know, 2 years ago, let's say 2 years ago, everyone was really worried about is AI going to take my job? Is AI going to, and all this. And people, a lot of people, I think, still worry about this. And I wrote an article the other day, and this is what has emerged in the last year and massively, right? The opportunity to do new things has absolutely appeared with all the things you just mentioned and all the things that I've been doing. So there's more opportunity to do more. But one of the biggest things that is appearing is that there's new platforms appearing too. And that's creating this entirely new surface area of opportunity too. And so, you know, yes, jobs are going to change, but they're going to evolve into something better here. I can almost guarantee it at this point. I am so confident that there is so much more opportunity out there that from what I'm seeing, not only because of what I can do, but also the new markets, the new platforms, the new ways of reaching customers. There's just going to be all these new things that will appear and are appearing. So, that's also what I think's changed in the last year as well, is that, those concerns were more valid maybe 2 years ago when you didn't see all this stuff appearing. You didn't see vibe coding. You didn't see these new ways of getting things done or these new things that you can do. You didn't see all of the capability you could bring in as an entrepreneur to do new things and to move faster, you know? Like if you think about it, I'll just quickly add, enterprise DNA, we now have and this is in the last year. Again, the last year we now have our core platform, but we have like 7 or 8 applications that fit around our learning platform now. And so a year ago, couldn't even do it. Couldn't even do that, And think about how much we've transformed in a year, and now we're doubling down on all of these applications, making them even better. The AIs are getting better so we can move faster on all these things. I mean, we're literally releasing updates every single week, huge upgrades of like these pieces of software that would have taken us months previously to even do. So that's happening everywhere. It's just happening
And I
everywhere.
kind of can't believe that there's not more migration onto that because the fact that people are kind of sticking their ground and slogging it out, you know, on say Power BI, we're basically to to get a really big foothold.
Mm.
Um, what's your advantage as a Power BI developer over, you know, all the other Power BI developers? I mean, they're the elite Power BI developers, but the average Power BI developer has no real advantage competitively over 20 other people who are doing the same thing.
Particularly if they're
But
using all using AI. If you're all using AI, right? Like, you know, everyone's basically the core ability is just like everyone's just moved to the same level. This is the same across lots of things as well. It's not just that.
I read an article this week where it was about Box and Rakuten, and they're basically by just implementing Claude skills out of the box, not any you know enterprise customization or anything. There's building folders the same way you and I are. They're cutting 8-hour tasks down to one. So these are huge savings, and the people who can do that
Mm.
are at a huge advantage. And it it just strikes me that if you've got if you've got kind of the skills and the traditional tools, you'll pick these other ones up fast. And I would think there would be a land rush um, of people moving to get out in front of that and kind of get that initial edge. And I'm maybe it's happening, but I'm just not seeing it.
Well, this
Um,
is this is this is what I just don't get the sort of bipolar nature where I just said earlier, I saw an Excel formula video had 300,000 views on YouTube, and I'm just going, holy, how is this even possible? How is this literally even possible? Um, when I'm working on, I'm literally writing tens of thousands of lines of code every day. It's just insane, absolutely insane. Um, yeah, and then I keep reading comments. Like you'll go to some YouTube video with some tech CEO, and then all the comments about are how they're how AI is going to destroy everyone's jobs. It's just like so bipolar. It's so bipolar out there online. I mean, it has been for a while, but I mean, you and I are doing things, and we're seeing all this opportunity, but then seems very hung up. And look, it could all be bots. I don't even know. Maybe it's bots out there that are writing all these comments, but it seems like half the world is like so concerned about AI taking their job. I'm just like, it's not going to happen, man. If you invest in these new things and new ways of doing things, there is so much opportunity for you. It's unbelievable. I mean, I just saw before I was on LinkedIn. Even Microsoft in their job titles are saying, like writing, vibe coding. They want people who are doing vibe coding with Lovable and Cursor and things like this, like a product manager. A product manager does vibe coding. It's like, this is what you should be getting into. I've been saying it for a year. I've been shouting it for a year. This is the biggest opportunity out of everything that I'm seeing.
Yeah, and we're basically you can go to a business and say, I can cut your costs by 75% on
Yeah.
repetitive processes that you have. And like right now, I know I can do that. Um,
Mm.
I'm doing it for all my own stuff.
Yeah.
The stuff I do regularly is all now Claude skilled. Um, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
moving everything into automated, and the the thing that was interesting this week, I had this kind of moment of crisis where, I had this really complex workflow, and I've been working on it for 7 months and couldn't get it. I tried every agent software out there that I could find. Spent over $1,000 burning tokens. Couldn't get anything to work. 10 hours, I got a Claude skill that does it. That's actually the one I ran from the hospital, and
Right.
um, and I was kind of like, at the end of that day, I'm like, what am I doing? Um, this stuff is easy now. And
Yeah.
there's still the framing it and the validation, but the execution is easy.
So it's
And
your systems organized. Like you're building systems, eh? Like you're building systems.
and I kind of went online and I said, what do you folks want to know? Um, what do you feel you don't know from the stuff I've posted that you need to know about how to do this? And I got a great response. And I've put together a super complex example um, that I'm pretty excited about rolling out. And it's business relevant. It's very specific, but it's generalizable in the sense if you know how to do this, you can apply it to a ton of supply chain and um, you know business operations functions. And I think it's something most people figure as we work through it. You'll be able to bang one of these out in a couple of days.
Mm.
Um, and it's pulling information real time on events, on weather, on forecasts. It's
Yeah.
integrating all that. It's building decisions and standardized reports. It's validating through agentic loops, and it's not hard.
Mm.
And you know, once I think people kind of get over the initial hurdle that it's really difficult, and they try it, and as you said, you leverage AI to build the AI, and if you're just persistent and careful, um, you just improve it, cyclically. And at the
Mm.
end of it, you've got something amazing that reduces so this 10,000 line one I had, it was something that took
Mm.
me a few hours, and it now takes me 3 words.
Yeah.
I
To do
say
something
I say
repeatable,
update
reliable.
discussion briefing,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it goes out and runs all this stuff and
Yeah.
pulls it together. It emails it out. It It
The problem,
follows up.
I think, look, it is very new. Like these Claude skills are very new, and I mean, I'm by no means an expert, but once I got into it, I realized like there's not much being an expert here. Like, I mean, I
No.
literally I said Claude, I said, I think I was using Haiku. I said, give me the best ideas for skills in this particular project I'm working on. And it came up with like 6 ideas. Then I said, okay, write these all for me, put them in the folder. I mean, that's all I did. But then I said, and this was also the benefit of skills, which I think is better than MCP, is the speed at which you can create them to be specific. Because, for example, like you could create a skill to connect to like Superbase, for example, right? And you can do that with MCP. But then it's annoying because sometimes it doesn't pick up your credentials. It can't see the file with your codes and things to connect to it properly. And then you're fiddling around. Like it's just a simple thing. Sometimes is hard for the AI with MCP, but with skills, you can load the skill to be ultra specific. You can say, "Hey, use this particular key API key. Use this client secret or something," and you could say, you can throw them in there and be very specific to your project. It doesn't have to be, it can be a generic skill, but it can also be an ultra specific skill that is just for your project, and you can whip it up in like 5 seconds. And so, that's a bit of a game changer as well, because to make adjustments on MCP in a lot of cases it just feels complex. It feels really complex. But the skill thing was just like it just overall just like seamless from start to finish in a lot of cases.
Yeah, yeah. And I've been finding the same thing that, there's some of my build where I build intentionally for others to use. And
Yeah.
there's some that I don't even put on my public GitHub because there's nothing sensitive, but I know I'm the only person who's going to have a use for it.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
it's so specific to a particular workflow that I do, it's not even worth putting up. And
mm.
maybe from a dissection standpoint, but um, there are so many already out there to dissect. I mean, that I like going on. I
It's
haven't
it's
been on
it's the
two.
other interesting thing is that when you're using these skills, particularly in the development space, like I am, like I would like, and this is so different from weeks ago, is that now I'm actually coordinating not only models, but I'm also coordinating skills in a lot of cases, because I've got a skill for building a component on brand. I've got a skill that analyzes my code files and makes sure that they are best practice and optimized to be like super modular. I've got a Claude skill for GitHub, and I'm actually finding, like, when I'm talking to my machine, I'm thinking, okay, what model should I use? Oh, and what skill should I use? And I've become a real coordinator of both of those things. So it's quite a different. I mean, it's a much better workflow, by the way, much better. But it is an evolution of what we maybe were doing before.
I mean, it's funny. I just logged on to Cloud Skills Marketplace, and the tally of skills now is 13,079. At the beginning of the week, it was 10,000 something
Yeah.
just this week. And
Are
so,
people selling
yeah,
them? Are they selling them, or
no, they're just posting them. I mean, that
yeah.
the, in the for the most part, they're so easy to build that I don't think I'd pay for one.
Yeah.
It's kind of like if it was anything, more than, you know, a few bucks, you just build it yourself. And
Yeah.
there are some there's kind of a superhero skill that's a comprehensive um, software engineering set that somebody's put
Hmm.
together that is dynamite.
Right.
And there are a couple of really big ones that have really hit. But I think for the most part, most of these are just small things people have done. I needed something that had a particular voice task.
Yeah.
I know what it was. It was extracting an audio file from a M4A. Um, no, it was a strange format video file that I needed a different audio version extracted from. And I looked up, there's a skill that did it. I ran it through my evaluator to make sure it was safe. It said it was safe, and boom, 5 minutes later, I had it done.
Mm.
Um, and
So it's amazing, like if you think about what Claude skills could do within Excel, for example, right? Like controlling Excel just from your AI client. You're not having to just think of all the little things you do in Excel. Like, can you actually control Excel from Claude right now? I don't even know.
yeah,
You
that's
can.
that.
Okay.
Anthropic's got the Excel skill that builds the Excel files, and you can tack on however many skills you want that then
Mm.
call that base Excel skill.
It's
Um,
it's it's such like honestly, this is the is it would you call it like a the recursive loop? Like it just everything's compounding and getting faster, right? Like and this is what we've always known with code is if AI can write code, that just speeds everything else up because it can write code that can help you create a framework and a tool set that can use that code, and then you can write because like that's a perfect example, right? Like you can get a skill to to write code that does everything in Excel. You can use or you can use a skill to do everything around data analysis. Like every little task you do in data analysis, you could put into a skill or a different set of skills, and then all of a sudden you're just managing skills to go and do stuff.
well, I don't know if you've had a look at the Nate Jones Substack, but he is just I mean, he is on fire with that stuff. And
Right.
what he did is he knows a lot about corporate financial reporting. And so what he did is he built some very sophisticated um, financial models in a Claude skill that calls the base Excel skill, and he's got all the prompts right up on his the Substack. The videos are free. The Substack is paid, but it's like
Mm,
$20 a month.
mm,
And one prompt. I mean, he has a McKinsey style PowerPoint deck that he's
mm.
got a gargantuan skill prompt for,
Right.
and that thing just that thing just generates incredibly good PowerPoints from just you know a 3-word call.
That's
You say
crazy. Yeah.
generate board briefing, and it'll
Mm,
it'll put out a McKinsey style deck, 20 slides, all defined, consistent
mm.
format, tied to your corporate style. And I hate doing PowerPoint, and
Yeah.
it just take me forever. And now nobody's going to do PowerPoint.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it like the models are just as smart as anyone out there, if you prompt them properly. The imagery now is outstanding, and then the only thing that was holding a lot of imagery back was the text. And so if Google have solved that, you can just call that now. And so you'd think that everyone else is going to catch up over time as well. So that will get cheaper too. Yeah, I mean there is fundamental things changing in the way work is getting done. I mean, everyone has known this for years, but like it is accelerating, in my opinion, based on a lot of these innovations that have come out in the last year, for sure. But it's just opening up lots more opportunity, I think. Like, and it's just going to be so different. Like, this is the one of the biggest inflection points I think we've ever seen in terms of just value creation, how you can do things, what you're capable of. I keep thinking that every day. It's just crazy to me. I mean, it's certainly disruptive. It always has been disruptive, but it is crazy what is now possible. I mean, I've actually been running these thoughts and ideas through ChatGPT a lot lately, just to try and like see, okay, like where are opportunities? I mean, I'm already busy enough. Like honestly, I'm doing so many things. I'm working harder than I was like years ago. And so there's not much more I can do, but it's just interesting. It's really interesting because if you think about it, um, so much is changing at once. Like it takes less time to do anything, to do things. It takes less cost to do things. It takes less people to do something. It's you've got like unlimited expertise and compute at your fingertips to do new things. Like it's just that is just so much of what traditional work and traditional value generation used to be is just being completely democratized like crazy right now, like absolute crazy. So I don't know. It's just going to change so much. So many new things will appear. It's going to be, correct. It's going to be so interesting to see. Like I also look at what are the opportunities with all this compression, with all this compression. Well, personalization is going to go wild, right? Like everyone's going to be able to build their own software for their life, for example, you know, in a lot of cases, the way that software, what software does for you is going to get wild. Like it's going to be incredibly proactive. It's going to be adaptive. It's going to know you better than know your habits more than better than what you know in a lot of cases. Like, I mean, that's just a software example, but I think that's going to be a big thing.
Well, I think I want to show you this. So you know what my interface is now? It's this,
A button.
a button.
Wow.
I just do this. And how I control everything else with my feet.
Wow.
I have a three button foot pad. The
Yeah.
center pad is whisper flow, and the two outside pads are up arrow and down arrow.
Hmm.
I can control everything in Claude Code with my feet, 2 feet, and one button.
Is that do you turn on your audio with your feet? Like, do you turn on the voice
Yeah,
transcription?
yeah.
Crazy.
It's a center button. My foot's sitting right on it right now.
Yeah.
It's an Elgato foot pad, and I didn't even touch my keyboard anymore. Because it's just fun to do that. You're like you get in Claude Code and you say go.
Yeah.
Um, it's like playing a game show. Um,
Yeah.
but one of the things that we tried doing last time, but I want to your point about how easy things have gotten.
Hmm.
Um, let's take just a minute. Pop open your share your screen and pop up my GitHub and load that skill evaluator. And I want to just show folks how easy this is. Um,
Yep. Brian Julius. Yeah.
you got the B Julius. You got my repo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, do I
Okay.
go into skill evaluator?
Go into skill evaluator and there should just be a release where you can download the zip.
Oh, do I go here?
Yeah.
So I need to do this in my cursor, right?
Um, I'm sorry. I'm having a hard time seeing your screen. My let me change it.
Should I do this in a terminal, do you think? I actually do have a terminal.
No, no. But basically, if you just go, you just get my browser up. Here we go. Um,
Some solid documentation here.
yeah, I mean,
Um,
it writes, I mean, Claude Code writes beautiful documentation. Um, Right, skill evaluator.
Store plugin.
Yeah, if you just go right on the front page of that to the right, it's got a releases there, 1.2.2. Um, and just click on latest.
Yeah.
And if you just go down there, skill evaluator.zip at the bottom under assets,
Oh yeah. Skill evaluation. Yeah.
just download that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Go to your Claude desktop.
Yeah. I'll just share over to my Claude desktop. One sec. Yeah.
And then if you go into your settings, capabilities,
Skills. Upload skill.
skills, upload skill, and just drop that zip file.
Done.
Done. You've got everything I've got now.
It's crazy. Yeah. And then hold on. I'll bring in one of my skills that I've got. So here's my GitHub automation. So I have this one that just like helps me interact with GitHub, so I don't actually have to do anything.
So
Uh,
run my skill. Tell it to run my skill evaluator on your GitHub.
yeah. Please run the skill evaluator against this GitHub skill that I have.
And what it's going to do, the skill evaluator can run in four different modes, but when you just give it a general instruction,
Mm.
it'll run the overall mode.
Yeah.
And you can run in a deep dive security mode. The other thing that I anticipated was I knew these skills were going to boom. And so what you can do is you can actually download like four different skills that do the same thing. And it'll
Mm.
go through and evaluate which of them is the best.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to do that research yourself. And yeah, it's like there's nothing like MCP. There's no going into JSON and doing
Yeah.
config
It's just so
files.
simple. It's
You
just
download the zip from somebody, you drop it in your
mm,
that target area, and you're done.
mm. That's the one that's one thing as we've been saying. It's just so seamless. It's so simple. MCP has not solved the simplicity. People want like most people just want simple. I mean, I want simple.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be screwing around with JSON file
Yeah.
configurations. I know how to do it, but um, this is just so much better.
Mm.
And one of the things I really love about this too is there are things out there like Quarto for reporting, which
Yeah.
most people outside the R universe don't know.
Mm.
And the thing is, you don't have to know R now. You can just have Claude build a Quarto skill, and Quarto does beautiful reporting with accordion expansion. So you can show your data visualizations, and you drop the accordion expansion, and it shows all the code behind it.
Mm.
Um, and you don't have to know anything about Quarto. That as long as you know you can evaluate that the report is correct and it's providing you the information you need. Claude can write that stuff all day long. And once you've got it locked in the format you want, um,
Mm.
and this will actually produce at the end, will produce a quarter report for you.
Yeah. I mean, that's just wild, isn't it? I mean, this is this is sort of playing out the MCP vision, isn't it? Like just in a lot better way. Like this is what
Yeah.
takes it. This is what accelerates it faster. You know, because the other thing with MCP is that, so say for instance, someone wanted to build an MCP, you had to do quite a lot to actually build it. You had to create your own server. I mean, you still do. I mean, we're doing it. You've got to create your own server. You've got to manage that server. You've got to manage all the risks and security and all that kind of stuff. But here you're just like creating a file. It's just like a Word document. You're just like inserting a Word document with a very detailed prompt.
Yeah. So, I don't typically do this in the desktop, but if you scroll back up, it'll give you a summary table of,
Yep. So if you
yeah,
if
that's
you
a good skill. I mean, 86 out of 100 is a
Well,
strong
Claude wrote
skill.
it. Claude wrote the skill, so I'd hope so. I'd hope it was pretty decent. But this is if you think about this, right? Like if you're building just like reporting in an organization and you have regular reports, and it's just, I mean, I remember when I was working, and when I was working in a lot of the businesses that I worked in, and I worked in large organizations, like most of the data that we actually analyzed and stuff was quite small. Like it wasn't this like massive, like most of it was under 10,000 rows. Sometimes it was less than 2,000. And you could just you could just paste that into here and then run comprehensive Claude skills to create documents that you could then download, or you could send. You could resend these artifacts around, right? Like there's this is a complete revolution in how information is just sent around businesses. Like it truly is.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this, that even though Claude wrote it, it missed a couple of things. It's got some YAML front matter that's not, exactly to spec. Run this thing through for 10 minutes and it'll be perfect. Um,
Yeah.
and that's the kind of thing that, if you or I had to learn, you know, the YAML front matter, guidance and rules and how to write that stuff. Um, but that's all now contained within the skill. All you have to do is just validate, hey, it's still not perfect. And
Mm,
here are the things, and a lot of times it'll tell you, hey, like if you're the only one using this, um, you don't have to worry about this and this because you're not going to put malicious code in your own inputs. You don't have
yeah.
to. You have to sterilize your own inputs um, in the way you would if this were operating out in the wild. And so you can. The funny thing is, it'll advise you what's worth doing and what's not. Um,
Mm.
and
This is,
yeah,
I'm gonna put it out there. I'm gonna put it out there. This is a bit of a wild take. I reckon the need to even use Excel and PowerPoint is just going to evaporate over the next 5 years. I reckon it will. I mean, I can't even remember the last time I put in a formula inside of Excel. I honestly can't. Why would you, if your core job is reporting and information gathering and distribution, information distribution, why would you just not use this on autopilot? Like, why would you just not set up this system to generate far more than you could ever achieve for far less effort? You know, Excel used to take a lot of effort, a lot of cognitive load, to actually do it. Same with PowerPoint. I mean, people spend hours creating PowerPoints that this can do in like 30 seconds.
well, yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I haven't talked about this, but a good friend of mine, Adiyu Kumar Durak, he made the finals of the Excel World Championship and the Excel Collegiate Championship. I'm going out to Vegas in a couple of weeks to watch him compete. And
Cool.
one of the guys out there that he's friends with that I've gotten to know a little bit is Eric Ohm. And he has this thing called Excel Robot, which is, uh, as I understand it, it's basically a consolidator, organizer, and automator for Excel lambdas.
Hmm.
Um, and so the people who really know Excel, um, like these guys, they're they're building these custom lambdas with the help of AI and then organizing them in these systems like Excel Robot and just calling them, I think exactly the way we're doing with skills, but all within Excel and for some incredibly sophisticated stuff. I mean,
Mm.
there's one Aditya had a couple of weeks ago where he was it was a it was one of the rounds of qualifying competition, and I think he finished the round in 7 minutes 10 seconds. Um, and many of the best people in the world took like 24 minutes, and you or I would have taken days um, to do this, and most people I wouldn't be able to do it at all, and he just basically pulled up the right lambda, applied it to the data, and just buzzed through this incredibly complex task in 7 minutes. Um,
Mm.
it was it was remarkable, and I think basically the people at the forefront of the Excel wave are have basically come to exactly the same conclusions we have and the people using Cloud Skills have. They're just doing it with slightly different tools, but I think the base ideas are very, very similar.
Yeah.
Um,
If you're amazing at Excel, I mean, I think you're in an amazing position to do wonderful things like at this point in time. I mean, Excel experts are all very fast thinkers, analytical thinkers in a lot of cases, And imagine just applying this, releasing that cognitive load of like working in a spreadsheet, but applying it to building AI systems and building intelligence operations. I mean, I've always said it. They're the network of our Excel, Power BI, and analysts over time. Like they're just in the best position to do unbelievable things in this AI era. Like they truly are. Like if you can be comfortable with code, right? You can be comfortable with code. You can leverage yourself up like an insane amount right now. You know, like I'm building. Like if I just go think what I'm doing, I'm spending a lot of time in Cursor, for example, like building apps, and now I've become so comfortable in there. I'm just not writing any code anymore. I'm just vibing. I'm vibing with the AI models. I'm vibing with skills now, um, and I'm coordinating. I'm coordinating all these things and achieving so much. Um, yeah, it's anyone can do that. Anyone can do that. I mean, the other thing to know, you've got to go soon, right? But
yeah, I do have a 7 o'clock stop.
cool. Well, maybe we'll just finish the insane numbers out there of like how much these platforms are growing. Like Anthropic think they're going to get to 70 billion of revenue. OpenAI in a couple of years. OpenAI I think they're going to get 100 billion. I mean, Google just had record profits. I think they made 100 billion revenue a quarter or something. Like insane.
Oh, and
Like
they're going to explode. Because I think we didn't really get to talk about this, but
yeah.
they are way out in front now, and I think they're in a position to just stretch that lead.
Yeah,
Um,
I'd love to catch up next week as well if you want to. But
yeah, yeah,
I'll just leave it to you. But yeah, good to catch up. Good to catch up.
yeah. Really enjoyed it, Sam. This is great.
Yeah,
I feel like we're we're at a turning point right now. The combination of the models, the frameworks, and the speed is just.
yeah,
I think it's not quite as big as when it first arrived, but
mm.
it's the next closest thing.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
feeling it too. I've really felt it in the past like month or so that I'm just seeing it in what I'm able to achieve myself. It's particularly on from a like a code perspective, just the leverage that you can get from these systems to leverage yourself with code is quite amazing. It really is. And I'm just, I'm sort of on that entrepreneurial mindset where I'm just like always looking for the next opportunity. Like, what does that open up? What does that do? What does that mean? It is a massive inflection point. And it's not like maybe, 3 years ago, it was just text, right? But now it's this multi-modality of things, combining all these things together, stacking different AI modalities on top of each other to create a brand new experience. And it's compounding, and it feels to me like just this feedback loop is fast, and there's just going to be this continued acceleration off the back of that.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think you're saying the other week that um you've been right on so many things and not gotten paid for it. But I think one of the things that is so clear is voice is the direction.
Oh,
And
I
Google is all in on that too. That the
I have so many insights on
the
voice. I could tell
the
you. I could tell it's
yeah, let's pick that up next week.
the
Um,
amount of new, like brand new, non-existent business models that are appearing with just AI voice is just absolutely insane. Um, and then I look at it from the, what we've decided with Help Genie to go after this incredibly tiny niche, but it's actually quite a massive opportunity. It's huge, like getting rid of user manuals that's basically our mantra right now. You know, that market never existed before. It just never existed. And we're going to try to get rid of manuals and get everyone to use AI voice to get help on anything. So, I think it's there's just one example, honestly, but there's probably hundreds of businesses out there that will just be AI voice. AI voice will be a component of their thing. Yeah. So it's so happening.
well, yeah, based on your inspiration, I built an AI voice skill for Claude Code, and so now um, I run Claude Code. I feed a button and I talk to it, and it talks back to me. Um,
Epic. Okay, I really want to see this because, like, yeah, I mean, just think about what if the interface that we use to these IDEs and Claude Code. What if it just becomes? I mean, it's voice for us now, but I'm still having to turn on the voice and turn off the voice and things like this. But imagine if it just feels like air, just like feels like you're talking to it and getting it done. I think that is very, very close, very close.
oh, it's here. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm not even good at voice, and I built it. I built it in Claude Code, and I took the Winston Wolfe voice from Pulp Fiction, and my Claude Code talks to me like Winston Wolfe now. Um,
Yeah. Oh man, the fluidity of voice and the just the natural feel of voice is going to accelerate things even more. I can just see it. I can just see it into the very near future, right? Like I think a lot of people are still typing into ChatGPT and typing into Claude and things like this. But what if you can just have a device like this tiny device that syncs into your Claude code and just like does it. Like I think this is where we're going, and then it just talks back to you like you've set up. Like this is where we're going. It's going to be wild, absolutely wild.
I mean, the conversations I have with Claude Code are really similar to the ones we just had. Um,
So wild, eh? That's so wild. Okay, let's round off. Let's round off. Thanks,
all right,
thanks, Brian. Good to chat. I'll talk to you soon.
great. Thanks, Sam.
See ya.